1 minute long, 3 o'clock.
On Friday afternoon. This is our weekly Facebook Live session, Conscious World Agents. My name is Claudia van Zuiden.
And my name is Arturo Mazzaro.
Yeah, and together we are the founders of Conscious World Agents. And every week we come together like this, make some time to share a topic, our thoughts about a topic, and also we share our post, what we've posted on social media this week, and we have a little chat around that. So thank you for being here. It's wonderful, everybody who's watching, also the people who watch our videos afterwards on our YouTube channel. Thank you.
And please ask any question about this topic that's needed for you. Also afterwards, then we will respond to that.
Yes, great. Every week we have quite a lot of interaction, and we really appreciate that. And yeah, just wonderful to have you all here with us, and any experiences also that you wish to share. And put it in the comments as well if you wish, or send us always a message, a direct message afterwards. That's also possible. So feel out what's good for you, but we like the interaction. So,
yes.
Oh, maybe we can say something, because we didn't mention that about the guest speaker.
Yes, the guest speaker.
Normally we have every month a guest speaker, but because it's July and holiday time for a lot of people here in the Netherlands and abroad, we don't have a guest speaker this month. So the guest speaker that we'll be having next month, we will let you know as soon as possible, and that's quite a surprise as well.
Yeah.
So that's maybe something we needed to clarify, because we had some questions around that.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you like to start today?
Yeah. What's the topic about our post this week? This week was about, well, what is consciousness? And also, why should you raise your level of consciousness? Yeah, that's a good question. And that's questions that we get a lot.
Yeah.
And, well, today we try to give you an answer as we see it. Well, what I wrote was, I think it was a quote, and I'm not sure, Carl Jung, I think, about as long as you are unconscious of your consciousness, things will happen to you and you will call it fate. Well, and I think that's true. For me, it's true. What is consciousness? Consciousness is basically everything. Everything is consciousness. Consciousness are your thoughts that you have. The smell of the coffee you smell. How do you say that? The taste of something you eat, the music that you hear, the love that you feel for instance, your child or your loved one. So everything you experience, consciousness is experience. Everything you experience, that is consciousness. And everything on this planet has consciousness, even the rock. But the rock is probably not aware of its own consciousness. And that's why we are a little bit different. And I come to that a little bit later. What's the difference between the density of a rock and the density of a human being? Because that's very important to raise your level of consciousness. So everything is consciousness. And why should you then ever raise your level of consciousness? Basically, what a lot of people, how they live right now, is that they live at the subconscious level. And what do I mean with this? Is that about 90-95% of their time, they are running on an automatic pilot. They act and react without real thinking. They have their desires without really thinking or feeling about it. So it's more or less at the subconscious level that they live. And as long as you do this, what will happen then, and that's what Carl Jung means, then things will happen to you, and they will happen randomly. And you have the feeling that you don't have any influence on this. And that means also that you have the feeling or the thought that something else or someone else is running your life. And as long as you do that, and you feel that, that's the automatic pilot, and you are not the pilot, it's the subconscious level. So if you want to be the pilot in your own plane, you need to grab that steering wheel. And that means that you need to raise your level of consciousness. Then you can influence in which direction you want to go. And a few things are important. I already talked about the density. If you are raising your level of consciousness, you feel less dense, less solid. For instance, your thoughts will be different, will be more light, more positive, instead of negative, and everything is heavy, and life feels that heavy if it's more dense. But to change that, you need a certain level of self-awareness. So what is happening with me? How do I feel? How do I think? How do I act? Is this exactly what I want or not? And as long as it's at the subconscious level, it's automatic. So you need to have the awareness and be self-aware of how do you really want to run your life. And then you need to look at how it's running right now, and look at the things you don't like, but also look at the things you like. Because there are also some resources for you that you can help to change the things you don't like. And as soon as you raise your level, you feel less dense and more light, and you have more self-awareness, then suddenly you can tap into a more intelligence system. What do I mean with this? It's not you don't need to have a high IQ. It's all the possibilities, all the potentialities that are here in this life. Suddenly you can tap in different ways of looking at things, different ways of acting, different ways of changing your life into the path that you really want. And then you're at the path of least resistance. And by doing that, if you are tapping in that universal intelligence, if you have more self-awareness and you feel lighter, then a fourth step come in, and then you feel the desire. Sometimes we call it direct power, willpower, but willpower is not with your mind. It's much more with the heart. It's the desire that you really want to change, the desire where you want to go. Instead of in the flight modus, running away from things you don't like, you're going towards something. And with having that great willpower, that desire, tap into the intelligence, have that self-awareness, feel lighter, less dense, you will change your life. You will have the steering wheel in your hands. And you can create. Then you are the creator of your own life. And then you create it at a conscious level instead of at a subconscious level. So you go from it's a hard time, my life, to it's hard time. That's what I wanted to share.
I love it how you then all of a sudden end that story, and I'm so in it, and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, okay, what do we do right now?
Yeah, okay. What do you want me to tell?
No, it's just so wonderful when you build it up, and then it's like, you say this great quote from going from having a hard time to having hard time, and it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah, well, that's what we with CWA, and that's what we explain to people. We don't have the answers for everything. We don't have the truth. We have our truth and our perception on life. And what we believe is that if you slow down, you can light up your life. And the light up has to do with less density, less solid, more light, more positive. And with that degree of positivity, you change definitely a lot of things in your life.
That's so beautiful. And I just love that quote when you said that this week. It was just so wonderful, and it just comes in the heart. And I can really connect with my heart when you say that. It really feels like, oh yeah. And then you look at me and it's like, do I need to speak now? Like, I'm so in this now. But yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, very nice. And of course, we have discussed our posts with each other, and you know, our whole life is around that philosophical level in the way of being aware. It's just about being aware. So first of all, I want to really be aware of everybody who's watching. So thank you for being with us today, and please share whatever comes up here with you. And if something gets triggered, or if something you feel is worthwhile sharing with us, then please do.
Yeah.
You know,
Or if you have a question,
absolutely,
please write it down.
And
who's reacting right now? Or is this just...
some
Oh, right, nice. Karen, thank you for
Nice.
being here.
And I really also want to go back a little bit what you said about the positivity. It's not that we just feel that we should just be positive all the time. And I think that's good maybe also to clarify.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when we, for example, if we would look at up and down, right? We go higher and higher, if we would say that into certain levels. If we would have something on a positive scale here, and we feel that is still maybe from a scale from 1 being very low in positivity and 10 being very high, and it would be on the number 3, that number 3 would still be positive compared to the number 2.
Absolutely.
So, but it will be less positive than the number 4, right, on that scale. So it's not that it's about negativity or positive, it's just it's a different type of energy that's around the positivity. And I think that's important to know. So it's not about it should be positive or negative, because actually there is no difference basically in both of them. But that's something we maybe can go into another time.
Yeah.
But it's about the level of positivity creates what you're saying,
Absolutely.
the level of density.
Yeah, I think it's so valid to share this, because what we also hear a lot of times is, you need to think positive. But that's not the positivity that where we talk about.
Yeah.
It's indeed what Claudia said. Look at the situation where you're in right now.
Yeah.
And if you're at the 3, then don't want to go to the 10. Acknowledge that moment and see what can change. And that has to do, if you lower your degrees, then you will be denser, more solid. The self-awareness will be less. The intelligence that is already here, you can use less from that. You see less possibilities and so on. So you're more in a victim role then. And if you want to get out, and it's for me it's always a little bit difficult to talk about the degree of positivity, because people think, oh, I need to think positive.
Yeah, but that's what we say. That's not what it's about. No. It's about like you're saying. And maybe we can go into my post then about that, because it really is a nice bridge about that. Yeah. You know, when you were saying live from the subconscious level, our main program that we run is based on that old conditioning. Yeah. The emotions, the feelings, and they're based on those habits of those conditioned mind, really. So we all have maybe those thoughts that are sabotaging us, and who want to take us through that lower density. And we could say that it's a small ego, for example, that say, you're not good enough, or you're not important enough, and who are you to go live on Facebook? Come on, you know, who wants to watch you? It's you know, what you're saying is so 2020, you know, it's just, but no, then something in us goes like, hold on a minute, you know, there is something that I can share, that I have inside, that maybe even if only one person has the benefit of that, something can change in someone's life. So never underestimate that. So I'm just trying to say that small voice is the one that can also come up in emotions and feelings that want to take you in a downward spiral and says, well, let's just go deeper and deeper and deeper. And when you raise your level of consciousness, when you raise your level of awareness, you go like, I got it, here it is. And then we can, for example, then have, like my post, I wrote a quote from Eckhart Tolle, when something like that happens, when a situation occurs or an emotion comes up that's very challenging, you have three choices. You can either accept it, say, okay, this is the situation that's happening, and there's nothing I can do about it right now, so I can accept it. Or, if there's something I can change, then change it. You know, go to that higher level of consciousness, be aware, take action. Or, what's the other one? Just my mind goes blank.
You just leave.
You just leave the situation. Leave the situation as it is. So that is basically what happens when you become more conscious. So you can say, right, this downward spiral that's happening, I have a choice. I can make a conscious choice here to step out of that. If it's something I can change, I can make a step towards that. And if there's something that's so uncomfortable, I'll leave it. I'll leave that situation. There's some other ways perhaps also possible, but that's one of the quotes I use. But what it did for me, and why I wanted to share that with raising the level of consciousness within myself, is that of course sometimes I get also, I feel the emotion is maybe strong and whatever, but I become aware that I have that conscious choice. And when I then say, no, I'm not going in that downward spiral, I'm going to focus on something that I want instead. And I direct my energy towards that with love, with accepting perhaps of what happened. But I have this free will, like you were saying, this creator in me that can create a reality that I do want instead. And most of the time we do have that. My energy goes towards that, and somehow it manifests like that. I don't then go unpacking that thought that was trying to drag me down and whatever, or I'm going to focus on that. No, I'm going to use that energy towards something that I would want instead. So I'm not walking away from it, I'm walking towards something, or I'm working towards something, or creating something that really feels beneficial for me. And that is a conscious choice. And when I'm then being triggered, I can see, oh right, I can make a conscious choice here. I can either go that way or I can do that. And when you actually go to that place that is more in alignment with who you are, in this case who I am, then I can bring that energy that we have, or that prana that we have, or the chi or ki, whatever you want to call it, towards something that really matters for me. And when you do that, you actually don't want to go back to that frequency that was there before. And that is a conscious choice. And the more I become aware of that, the more things I get done. I get so many things done in my life, but then I wonder how. Because I have so much energy. I don't waste the energy on things that are not helpful for me. So what does it do? It gives me liberation. It gives me true liberation in my heart. It gives me liberation in my life. And no more sabotaging. So my experiment that I suggested this week was like, if something like that happens, if you get a trigger or you feel your sabotaging thoughts coming, think, but blah 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 blah. If you can, if you're in a space where you are that is safe enough to do that, just stop. Just stop the thought. Already make a conscious choice there. Say, right, I'm now going to create an energy that is helpful for me here. I'm going to stop and I'm going to take a minute breath awareness time. So I'm just going to sit mindfully there. I'm just going to watch my breath and just notice how that feels. And after I've done that for 1 minute, then choose consciously if you want to go back to that sabotaging thought that you had previously. If you want, fair enough, go for it. Or perhaps you want to do something else instead. But that's the conscious choice. And I tell you, I have had situations like that in my life, and I love painting, for example. And in times when, for example, I can remember there were quite some wars going on in Bosnia at the time, and whenever I was really upset and my children were very little. And I thought, I have this energy and I really feel so sad and I want to do something, but I couldn't. And then I thought, I can do something with it. And I started to paint. And I started to paint and paint and paint and paint. And then these paintings got sold in the end, and they raised money for projects in Nepal that I was able to do. So I used that energy and I used something to create something different with it. And that, I think, is when we start to realize how amazing we are. When your conscious level is so high, you can create so many wonderful things for yourself, but you have to do it consciously. So for me, that is one of the reasons why it's hugely important to raise your level of consciousness, especially in times like this, to really start to see where can I use my energy, my chi, my true heart desire right now in the world, the best for myself and for others. So that was it for this week.
Love it.
You love it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ratna put a comment. Ratna says, it's very true. It takes so much energy to get from a 3 to a 10.
Yeah.
And everything seems even more hard working than it needs to be in the moment. Maybe the body can only deal with the 3 at that moment.
And that is so true.
Yeah.
Then at least you're not going down to a 2. You know, you stay at a 3 and then keep doing what kept you at a 3. That is such a valid point, Ratna. Thank you for sharing that. And also a half or 3.5, you know, that could also be something, a small step. But like you said, if the 3 can be, wow, if you can stay at that, that's great.
Yeah.
As well.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
What else?
Well, I think, you know, I hope that was helpful for you. And it's and not that we, you know, conscious world agents, we can only share what works for us and what we hear from others that works for them. So this is why we share our stories with you. And hopefully, you know, it will trigger something in you, or it will remind you of something that you already know, but maybe somehow have forgotten, excuse me. And that's what we really hope. And yeah, we try we look at subjects that can help you with your raising level of consciousness, and also transforming perhaps those unhelpful sabotaging thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, how can you transform it? You don't have to deny it, we're not saying that, but how can I transform it? Because when you check up with yourself energetically, how do I feel when I think like this, the sabotaging thought? And how do I feel when I maybe look at the opposite of that thought? How would I feel? And and just take a moment for that. And how does it feel? And what's going to benefit me more? And what do I choose here consciously, to stay in there or there? And then, like, take a small step towards what feels better for you. Because when you feel better, your body will benefit from that, your environment, not just yourself, but everything else, your energy levels, everything will benefit. So that's, I think, really what I wanted to share with that this week. And yeah, next week we're going to talk about following your truth.
Yes. Yes, how important is it to follow your own truth?
Yeah.
Your own truth, not the truth of the society or everything you learned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your own truth.
Yes. So we're really looking forward to sharing some more of that with you. And also want to say something about consciousness. When you said about everything is consciousness, you know, indeed it might appear to us that, for example, the trees or the earth or the stones or the water, they don't know their own consciousness. But that's maybe, we don't know that.
No, it's an assumption.
Yeah, but you know, that is something I think we also need to be aware of, that because our mind can't maybe comprehend that, but perhaps they do have consciousness on that level, and they are maybe much more aware, I don't know, but they seem to have a different level of consciousness if we would put it in scales, but in the end I think it's all the same. But that's also something we can look at and maybe inquire in ourselves this week, maybe, like, where do you feel consciousness around you, and how does it affect you, and maybe start to understand how we connected we all are, like interbeings, as Thich Nhat Hanh calls us.
Nice. Yes, and if you want to know more about raising your level of consciousness, and you really want to go to the next level in your own life, you feel that sometimes that you're banging to a glass ceiling. So you're doing a lot of things well, and you're aware, but suddenly there is a moment that you cannot go higher for your feeling. And what we see people do is that they try to solve it by their own. We have a program now. It starts in September 18th this year.
It's a year program.
It's a year program. It's called the 4-leaf Clover program. And the 4-leaf Clover has four leaves. And each leaf has something to do with you. You and yourself. That's one. Another one is you and another. And the third one is you and the society. And the last one is you and the world. Or you and the universe even. So every time you go deeper and deeper about where are you? How do you feel? What do you really want? How do you act? How do you relate? All these kind of things. This week we posted also some of these information about this program. And of course you can go to our website, consciousworldagents.com, and go to 4-leaf Clover program, not the 4-lead Clover program. That's another one. That's for business leaders. But go there and see what we are going to.
We have some people on the course already who are business leaders, but that's more of how to work at the workplace and at the team.
That's true. That's true.
So just
thank you. Thank you. Yeah. That's more for the companies itself.
Yes, that's right.
That's true. Yeah, right. So the 4-leaf is more for you as a person.
Sorry about that.
That's what I wanted to share, and it's a program where you don't have to do it alone. Go to the next level. We can facilitate you. Together we explore and expand what's important for you. And not only we do this, but also the participants. They share their own experience, and it will always help you, but also us. That's the nice part of it.
Yes, and it's about expanding. Every day we expand. It's like when you start to realize that consciousness expands, it becomes infinite, and I think that is what we are on every day.
Yeah.
But how wonderful is that to share with you all, and we can just share with you the tools how to do that and the blissful feelings you can experience when it happens. And that's not like something new agey or fluffy. It's actually a sensation that once you find that it's not out there but it's already here, that's when amazing steps can be made to create a wonderful life for yourself.
Yeah, and it's based on ancient philosophies and the Western science as we know it right now. But what we believe is that the science was already there for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So it's all embedded, and I call it always it's intertwinkled.
Yes.
Instead of intertwined.
Intertwinkled.
Intertwinkled. It's everything together, and then it will twinkle, it will sprinkle, it will sprankle.
Sparkle.
And sparkle. It doesn't matter. It's so fun, and that's the bliss in your life that's happening there.
Absolutely. Well, that should be.
Is it okay?
It's perfect.
Okay.
It's absolutely perfect. As you can see, we love it too, and that's what happens. We just want to share that with you, and thank you for being here today. Wonderful that you're here watching what we share. And if there's any topic also that you want to, we've already made a list for the next 12 weeks. But if there's a specific topic that you really feel, gosh, I would really like to know a little bit more about that, just let us know. And we'll definitely try and look at that as well. Wishing you a wonderful weekend. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
We hope it was helpful. It was just a wonderful feeling that we were connecting.
Yeah. And thank you for the comments, Ratna.
Yes, thank you, Ratna. It's always wonderful to know that you're with us as well.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, and we will respond on your personal message.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody. And like we said, if you want to watch it later again, because you maybe watched a little bit on YouTube, next week I will post this one, and we look forward to to hearing what you think about it. Okay, bye-bye.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.